Christmas is here, and everyone knows that Santa isn't that realistic. But Rudolph's red glowing nose, that one is surprisingly plausible. Don't believe me? Well, let's dive into it. To figure this out, we just need our handy old friend, biology, physics, and some modern science. In nature, there are already animals that produce light on their own. And the crazy part is, they didn't inherit this from a single growing ancestor. Many species has came up with bioluminescence independently, from the depth of the ocean to the night sky. Yet, despite that, the way they produce light is surprisingly similar. You see, it all relies on these small proteins. These proteins are called luciferase. They don't glow by themselves. They trigger a chemical reaction inside the cells. A molecule called luciferin first gets activated by the luciferase, then react with oxygen, which make it turn into an excited molecule. When the molecules return to ground state, the energy must go somewhere. Normally, some of it will become heat, some will become light, and other stuff. But luciferase come in like a hero, acting as an enzyme that speeds up the reaction and keep it tightly controlled. The energy doesn't have time or pathway to spread out as heat, so more of it released as light. This is what we call cold light, almost no energy wasted as heat, which humans have been trying for ages to accomplish, while nature able to engineer it eons ago. It just shows how wonderful nature is. So now, the real question is, could a mammal actually do this? There are two realistic ways this could happen. Let's start with the first one. For an animal to develop a function, it must go through an environment that forces a specific trait. So the question is, what kind of environment would force an organism to develop light production? To answer that, we must look at nature. Long time ago, the ancestor of anglerfish were just an ordinary deep-sea fish. They lived in near total darkness, where food were rare and encounters were unpredictable. Occasionally, small genetic mutation appear. Some individuals produce tiny amount of light. Most of the time, it didn't matter. But in a few cases, that faint glow attracted curious prey. Those individuals ate more, they survived longer, they reproduced more. Over many generations, that accidental glow was refined, moved, shaped, and controlled into a dedicated light-producing organ. And that lineage survived, the others didn't. And for fireflies, it's a similar story, but instead of using light to lure prey, the mutation helped them find each other. In the dark, swampy area, light became a mating signal. Individuals that could signal more clearly reproduced more, and the trait spread to the population. Lastly, the jellyfishes. Producing light confused the predators, making lineage that do this survive more, and they remain. So now, we can see the pattern. Light only evolved when it consistently increased survival or reproduction. Now, let's apply the same logic to reindeers. Reindeers live near the Arctic, northern Canada, Russia, and part of northern Europe. At first glance, it sounds convincing. Heavy snowstorm, low visibility, a bright red nose should help them find each other just like fireflies, isn't it? Well, no. There is a problem. That advantage would only matter during the mating season, and reindeer mate in autumn, before the darkest winter conditions arrive. So the trait doesn't improve reproduction, and outside of mating, it doesn't significantly improve survival either. Without consistent pressure, the trait doesn't spread. And even if reindeer migrate further north, extreme darkness comes with extreme food scarcity. A glowing nose doesn't solve starvation. Which means on Earth, evolution never had a reason to make Rudolph. That leaves us with one last hope: humanity's ability to rewrite nature itself. Even though giving traits from another phylum to mammals sound like science fiction, we have already done this before. In the early 2000s, a company called Nexia Biotechnologies did something that sounded impossible at the time. They took a gene responsible for producing spider silk and inserted it into a goat embryo. That goat didn't into a spider. Instead, specific cells were programmed to produce the silk protein, which was then collected from the goat milk. In that case, what scientists really did in a nutshell was teaching mammalian cells to produce a specific proteins. And guess what else is a proteins? Yes, luciferase. Which means, in principle, all we need to do is teaching cells in reindeer's nose to produce luciferase locally and under tight conditions. That alone would be enough to make biological life possible. The problem isn't that it's impossible, it's that it's extremely expensive. But for an immortal jolly man who has resources to produce billions of toys for kids all around the world with high-tech technologies to travel around the world in one day at each, I don't think a technology that a company can already partially create it will be a problem for him. Still, a headlight would cost a lot less.